Hey everyone! In today's video, I want to share with you some tips on how to keep your Lightroom catalog organized. So today I want to share with you two different methods. The first one is if you shoot very often, and the second one is if you don't shoot that often. So there are lots and lots of different ways that you can keep your Lightroom catalog and your photos organized, and I'm not saying this is the right way, but this is the way that works for me, and I've been doing it for the past 8 or so years, so it's been a very efficient method for me. I did a lot of experimenting when I first started my business to find a method that's right for me, and to this day, I still change up little things here and there if I find a way to do something easier or if I find a better way to keep my files organized. So from today's video, you might implement this entire workflow for yourself, or you might get a few ideas on how to implement some things into your already existing workflow. To start things off, regardless if you shoot very often or not that regularly, it's going to be very difficult to keep an organized Lightroom catalog if you don't already have a good file management system in place first. So that's where we're going to start. I would recommend to choose one place to download all your photos to, whether that's a place on your computer or an external hard drive. When I first started photography and it was just a hobby, I made the mistake of downloading my photos to pretty much anywhere that was convenient. So I had some photos on my desktop, I had some in my downloads folder, I had some on an external hard drive, and that made it really hard to find particular photos when I needed them, and it also made backing up a really difficult task. By the way, I'm not including backing up in today's video, but if you would like to see a video about that, please let me know in the comments. A good rule of thumb to have with backing up is that if you only have one copy of your photos, you may as well have no copies at all. So yeah, let me know in the comments if that's a video you guys would like to see. My current file workflow is that I have an external SSD which has 2 folders where I download all my SD cards to every time I have a photo shoot. One of the folders is called Weddings, which obviously all my weddings go there, and my second folder is called Photos from Camera, which includes all my portrait photo shoots, client photo shoots, travel photo shoots, pretty much anything that's not a wedding goes into this folder. So the first thing that I do is make a new folder when I have a new SD card to download, and I name it in a particular way. The first thing I do is that I start with the date backwards. So for example, I would start with 19.11.01 for the 1st of November 2019. And this pretty much helps keep all my folders from all my photo shoots in the correct order that they were shot in. Then I put a dash and name the topic of that photo shoot, which could be either fashion or client or travel. And then I put a final dash and include the name of the client, the name of the photo shoot, or the name of the country that I was visiting. So here's an example from earlier in the year while I was traveling. This is how I kept all my folders organized from my time in Europe. As you can see, they're all very clearly labeled, and if I ever need to find a particular photo, it will take me literally less than a minute to be able to find which folder that photo is in. The last thing I want to mention with file management is that I don't import every single photo from a photo shoot into Lightroom. I only import the photos that I'm going to edit. So when I download my SD card into the correct folder, I like to rename it in a subfolder called Deselects. Then I use a program called Photo Mechanic to go through and cull all my images by giving them 1 star and move all those 1-star photos into a folder called Selects. And then only the photos in the Selects folder will get imported into Lightroom. If you don't have Photo Mechanic, you can also do the culling process with Adobe Bridge, as it also allows you to give photos a 1-star edit and to be able to decide which images you're going to be editing. The reason why I don't do my selection/culling process in Lightroom is because I want to keep my Lightroom catalogs as small as possible. As I mentioned, this keeps them running a lot faster and a lot smoother. And the second reason is that because culling in Lightroom is quite a slow process. So with Photo Mechanic, it gives you an embedded JPEG preview of an image while you're selecting, So when you're going through 3,000 raw wedding photos, it's a much faster process, as pressing next you see an instant preview of every single image that you're culling. And now finally onto the Lightroom catalogs. So the first method that I want to show you is the one that I use most often, which is if you shoot regularly. I have a lot of photos and a lot of client photo shoots that I need to get through, so this is the method that I use most often. So for me, I make a new Lightroom catalog for every single photo shoot that I do, and there are a few reasons for that. So the first one is, as I mentioned many times already, is to keep my Lightroom catalog as small as possible to have it run efficiently, faster, and smoother. The next reason is that I only have a catalog with related images. So when I sit down to edit a wedding, I will open up that wedding's particular Lightroom catalog, and only those photos will be in there, which means that there are no distractions. The next one is that I won't have any missing files from my catalog. Because I have such a large turnaround of files, usually when I finish a photo shoot, I'll back it up onto my separate locations and then delete it off my working SSD. If I had multiple photo shoots in one catalog, I would constantly have missing files. And lastly, when I finish a photo shoot, I usually have no reason to ever go back to it again in Lightroom. So instead of having multiple shoots that I won't need in one catalog, thus slowing it down, I simply just archive that Lightroom catalog with the photos that I'm backing up. So now my file management will look a little bit more like this. I have the main folder, my deselects and selects. Then I have another folder called Lightroom, which is where I save the Lightroom catalog. And my final folder is called Export, which includes all the exported photos that I edited in Lightroom. Once I've delivered that photo shoot and my client is happy, I will back up that entire folder, catalog and all, to my external hard drives, delete it off my SSD, and I usually never have a reason to ever go back to it again. The next method of organizing your Lightroom catalogs is if you don't shoot as often or you like to revisit and edit your older photos. The only time I have to do this is with my Lightroom presets for digital film actions, where I have a big catalog of photos taken in different lighting conditions and different cameras and just from different photo shoots in general that I use to test and create my Lightroom presets with. And I'll open up this catalog and show you guys how I have it organized in a second. With an open-ended Lightroom catalog like this, where you could potentially keep importing photos forever, it's still important to decide how often to make a new one to keep up with your file management and the safety of your edited photos. So this will all come down to personal preference and how much you shoot, but you can make a new catalog every single month, you can make one every season, like summer, spring, etc., or you can make a yearly catalog as well. For me, the digital film actions catalog is a lifetime catalog, so I'm gonna open it up and show you guys. So here we are in Library looking at all the photos in my catalog, and when we scroll through, there's a bit of everything and it kind of looks like an overwhelming mess. We have portrait photo shoots, travel photos, and weddings, so there's a little bit of everything here. The way I like to organize this mess is by using collections, which you can find to the left-hand side of the Library tab. Similarly to my file management, I've created 3 main topics which I file all my photos under, and this will be our first level to organizing a large amount of photos. You can create a new main collection by clicking on the plus button here and selecting Create Collection. So I have portrait, travel, and weddings. Within those main collections, I've then created collection sets, which you can find by, again, pressing the plus here and selecting Create Collection Set. When you do that, you can name your collection set to whatever you want and select inside a collection set to put it under one of the main collections that you've just created. So if I just open these up here, these are all the collection sets that I've created, and they each have a different amount of photos. Since I use this Lightroom catalog to test out my Lightroom presets and create new ones, I want a wide variety of images to be able to experiment on, taken in different lighting situations, different cameras, lenses, etc. So under portrait here, I've got a selection of images taken in backlighting. As you can see here, these are all backlit images. Then I've got portraits taken at dusk or blue hour. I've got photos taken in golden hour. I have photos taken indoors. And it's all basically just organized like that, so it's super simple to find exactly what I need. Under travel, I have different locations that I've been to, so if I want to find a tropical looking photo to work with, I'll head into Fiji. Or if I want photos with mountains and forest, I'll go into the Washington folder, for example, as I know those are the types of photos that I took while I was there. The collection sets in this Lightroom catalog are very specific to the type of work that I need to do with it, which is ultimately how you should organize your Lightroom catalogs as well, which is to suit your needs as a photographer. If I were to use one catalog for everything or a catalog yearly, I would personally implement the same file management system I have on my hard drive in Lightroom. So I made a little mock-up version to show you guys what it would look like. I would have my main topics such as portrait, travel, and weddings, and my collection sets would be the date backwards, again to be able to keep my photo shoots in order, then the name of my client or location I was shooting in. One of the last things you can do with a big Lightroom catalog is keywording. So I don't really have a use for this and I don't really use keywording that often. I try to organize my photos as much as possible with collection sets, and I also use camera metadata to see all photos taken on certain focal lengths or camera bodies. However, say you go to a particular location to shoot quite often, you could select all the relevant images and keyword it with the name of that location so you can see all those photos in one go compared to in separate folders. So back into the main library folder of my catalog, here I've keyworded all the photos in separate collection sets that are all in these different folders here that were taken at the beach with the keyword beach. So if we head up here and click on metadata, you'll find all the keywords that you've used under the keyword list. So if we select the beach keyword, all the photos that I've keyworded with the word beach will appear here. So it's a really easy way to add yet another level of organizing on top of your collection sets. So that is all I have for you guys today. That was a lot of information about keeping your files and your Lightroom catalogs organized. I would love to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Did you pick up any new ideas or any new tips that you might be implementing into your workflow? I'd love to hear about it. But as always, I make new videos every single Wednesday, so I will see you guys all next time. Bye!